Hi, you've clicked on to today's tropical tidbit for Saturday. Here's what's left of Bonnie, 1015 millibar tropical low heading in or east of the Mississippi River over here, and this is nothing to be worried about at all. The winds over the oil spill area are like normal trade winds right now with a normal tropical thunderstorm. This is nothing to be concerned about at all. These folks are just going to have a little bit of a wet day along this section of the coastline over here, and that's just about it. Looking at the rest of the Atlantic over here, there's really not much to look at. There's this sneaky little devil of a wave in here, which the Hurricane Center finally recognized as a tropical wave. It's been separate. It developed alongside Bonnie over here when they were both near Puerto Rico, and it was obvious that they were both separate systems at the time, and you can see that there's clearly a separation between them now, and this thing will be propagating west-northwest, maybe getting into the Gulf in the next several days. It's got a cold core upper low stacked over its low-level turning center in here, so it's not in the best situation for development, but if it starts to fire some convection in this area and start to warm up the environment aloft, it might have to be watched. But right now it doesn't look like an immediate or significant threat, so we'll just keep an eye on this. Over here in Africa, we continue to have an active wave train over the continent, which with lots of strong waves coming through here. This one has to be watched, this one has to be watched. There's a bunch of them coming off. Look at all the thunderstorms up here over the Sahara Desert. This is pretty impressive over here. It's usually bone dry like you can see it is over here, but look at all these storms going off in here. It's amazing what's going on up there. You usually don't see that. And you know, these things have been coming off and hitting drier, but we're in this pattern where you're not getting much out here, but then there's much above normal moisture in this area of the Atlantic. Once you get west of 50 west over here, this area of the Southwest Atlantic Basin is very moist. And if you remember, Bonnie, when she was developing, was a big fat naked wave over here, big swirl with no clouds at all. It came across, and then as soon as it hit this zone where the Tut is and all the moisture, she started banging off convection, and then she developed into a tropical cyclone, and there she is. So the concern is for when these things start coming farther west, and even if some of these big waves come off and then do nothing over here for now, they are a threat to develop farther west, and that's what we as people living here are concerned about, is for these things to wait until they're farther west to suddenly develop and then threaten all these countries over here instead of developing way out here and recurving. So that's a big danger. Now, this is 5 days out, European model. This is stalled front number 1 over here off the southeast coast. As a trough comes down the Canadian Maritimes, drops a front down. You got a big upper ridge nosing in over here. Nosing in, you got the trough up here. So you can try to get little warm core lows to develop under the upper ridge over here at the tail end of the front. Something to watch. Surface pressures are a little high. So this is a little bit grasping for straws over here, but we're watching out for some homegrown mischief later next week, and then a second shot comes, stalled front number 2, at day 10 the following week, as this gets straight down and you try to get maybe a little something trying to go up near Bermuda or west of Bermuda, and then you get low pressure backing in over the northern Gulf, possibly even after that. So we'll watch, again, just kind of grasping for something to watch over here, but we'll keep an eye on this because stalled fronts under nosy ridges can be rather mischievous, so we'll keep an eye on it. This is the GFS Day 10, hinting at Cape Verde development once again. Brings a wave over here towards the eastern Caribbean. We'll have to see if this materializes. This is run 3 in a row that has shown this, but it's still a long way out, and we'll keep an eye for these waves. You know, we're nearing the end of July, so once we get into August, we're gonna have to start watching out here for sure to see our first Cape Verde development. Even though it's dry right now, it's eventually going to kick in, and we're gonna get our Cape Verde season going, and you're gonna see these things start popping out here as well as back farther west. And you can also see the GFS showing this front over here, and nicer look than even the European. See that nice little circulation of counterclockwise winds in there within that area of precipitation high to the north. You know, keep an eye on it. We'll see how it goes. This is the Mjo forecast from the GFS. I find this a little bit funny because the Mjo is not going to be that strongly negative and that powerful of a downward motion burst. That's like a hammer right here, just a hammer. I mean, I would be any thunderstorms going up in here hard to imagine that, but I don't think this is going to be this strong. Coming in here as we head into August, I think that you'll see more of this kind of stuff, light browns, light oranges, coming in for about a week, and then by the second week of August I think you'll see the green starting to sneak back in. You notice it never really leaves the eastern Atlantic over here. It stays over Africa, and it really doesn't move that much. You keep it in the eastern Atlantic, so we'll keep watching out there, and then I think you'll see this start to sneak back west again as the weeks go by. As we get into the second week of August, a lot of the models are disagreeing with the GFS and bringing this around and take it right back towards the Atlantic where it belongs, because remember, all the cold water favors downward motion in the Pacific. The warm water is in the Indian and Atlantic Ocean, so that's where we're watching for upward motion and where the MJO will tend to go this year. So don't expect huge downward bursts during the heart of the season that will shut down the season. This season is not going to be a dud. It just simply isn't. So we're going to have to keep ourselves on our toes and keep our eyes out. So we will continue watching out for Cullen here over the next couple of weeks. That's it for today. Thanks for watching.